It's October evening. That's right. It's all right. Welcome, everybody. Good to have you on. Thank you for choosing to watch us over the Mets and the Brewers. What? I'll be keeping up with the score on the side. Don't you worry about it. It's 7 o'clock on the 3rd of October, and I'll tell you, it's a very, very weird, not weird, it always comes and goes, but I was looking forward to this night for a while because I knew that on this night, Thursday, October 3rd, we would have our good buddy Jay Gulinello back on with us, and that was going to be special because this would be a night that we were able to actually talk about the retreat that would at this point have been over. And it was just like, hey, Jay, here's the retreat. You want to come on the 3rd and we can talk about, what the hell happened. And it seems so far in the distance that it was just like, sure, these weren't even real dates. And now here we are, Jay, and it's all over. A 3rd year of you and Kathleen and Jenny putting on a really sensational event. And I'm glad that you're here.
Yeah, man, I'm glad to be here. And you're right. Those dates do often seem just way off in the distance and they're never going to come, but here they are and here we are.
Yeah.
And it's also, I realized this as I was pulling up today, that it is our almost 3-year anniversary.
You had mentioned that, and then when we went on a little bit of a quest to see what was the actual date that you showed up on the show.
I actually had it right in my head. I had the wrong year, but I had the correct date. It was October 6th, 2021.
2021.
Yeah.
So we were in the middle of the arm twisting.
Oh yeah.
The arm, not necessarily the lockdown,
no,
but the employment coercion.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You were just recently, you had just left the hospital, or you were about to be pushed out.
Oh wow! Now that I think about that, that was 5 days before my release from the hospital.
Did you know that the release was coming?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I learned about it perhaps maybe 2 weeks before we went on the air together, and so obviously we had it planned. So I probably knew when we booked it. But yeah, the 11th was my official last day, where they took my laptop, took my credentials, and just said, "See you later, kid."
Oh, that's something. But
yeah.
you think about the 3 years since, though.
Oh, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Think about the 3 years since, and we got some questions to ask and throw out there, and we're gonna open up the lines. The question tonight is: will revelation lead to revolution? And it's really just about putting out all the things that are being revealed at this point. And because there's plenty of people waking up to things, there's plenty of people coming forward. It's not even on a health level. We have all this another Epstein situation with the Puff Daddy thing.
I'm crossing my fingers on this one, man. How many false starts, right?
I know.
I want this.
It's I think a lot of people do, but there's just so much. Yeah. There's so much going on right now. What another really disaster with what's going on with Hurricane Helene. It's not that it's a disastrous mishandling of the situation, like what we were talking about last night with James BCP. It doesn't make sense in any way, shape, or form. And a lot of the testimony coming out is it goes from bad to no, this is even too bad. This is too bad to be true.
Right.
I have to save some of that for tomorrow because we just can't do that much tonight. But
to highlight the fact that no one is coming to save you. And it's really scary to think about because you would think that in those situations, it's the one time you could rely on the federal government. But they've been pissing away our tax dollars in a variety of other ways. So either they really don't have the money, which is ridiculous, or they don't really care. So when we talk about finding local food, all of the community aspect of what the retreat was about and what we've talked about for the last 3 years, it's no better illustrated in this crisis where it's communities and private people that are coming to aid the citizens and not the federal government. In fact,
the federal government, from what I'm reading, is actually standing in the way of people from doing what they naturally are inclined to do.
Sure.
Some people have their own helicopters that they're willing to go out there and make runs to help people. And what I'm hearing is that there is no interest to even recover dead and now at this point rotting bodies. It's very
They say just when you can't hate the media enough, you should hate them more. It's the same thing with the federal government. They're just, this administration is one of the most, and I thought that George W. Bush was one of the worst, but Biden, giving him a run for his money. Or whoever runs the show, I should say.
I know. Well, we're gonna have there'll be plenty of that stuff to talk about tonight, because like I said, that's part of the whole question about whether or not revelation is going to lead to revolution. But I think that it's partially rhetorical question, because what we did over the weekend in Martha's Vineyard is part of the revolution.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
And there's a lot of folks that have put their time into efforts like that to either just whether they focused it a little bit more finely on their families and their neighborhoods and whatever, their circles of friends, or they've started organizations, they've started to volunteer for one thing or another. It's really interesting and very heartwarming, even though it's all playing out of a backdrop of very, very, it's tenuous situation.
Sure.
Very chaotic.
It's amazing. And yet you don't, and it goes to show you that you don't really feel, or at least I didn't, you don't really feel the rest of the world. Like on a normal basis, I feel the same way you do. But over those 4 days, and maybe it was just because, I really wanted to make FaceTime with everybody, but I couldn't count how many times I lost my phone or just meaning like I just left it somewhere because it didn't matter to me, because what mattered to me was right in front of me. And so it was an interesting thing, given the chaos that we've all experienced over the past 4 years, to have that moment of just sort of like dealing with what's right in front of you and nothing else.
Aurora, she when you're home, you tend to, like, when she goes and sits down and has some lunch, that's usually the time of day that will give her a little bit of time to watch some TV. You want to watch, Mr. Rogers while you eat your tuna fish sandwich. Okay, whatever. But all of those little times where, when you're home, I'm working, Lauren's helping me with something, or she's doing something around the house, and Aurora's just with us. And, every once in a while you say, okay, well, go play, figure something out. Other times you say, all right, well, maybe I'll put something on for her and she can watch that for 45 minutes, whatever. Those crutches are gone. It was amazing, too, because we were all together. There was no television, no need for anything like that. No. And she slept so well. She slept so well on this getaway. So much
mental stimulation between the food and the people. Like I was saying this to Lauren, it's like, she may be used to this one day out of the year, like a Thanksgiving or a Christmas or something like that. But no one is really used to it over a period of 4 days. It was a lot for me to just have that stimulation constantly. So I bet she slept like a log.
She put herself to bed.
Guys, I gotta go.
Seriously, she put herself to bed for naps and at night. Best she ever slept on any road trip we ever been on. She loved it, and then and she spent so much time with all the people there.
Yeah. Everybody got to know her.
Yeah. So it was a lot of the cold plunge, though. That was a fun thing because Aurora wanted to go into the cold plunge with Daddy.
Yes, she did.
And she didn't realize how cold it was.
No, she didn't.
So I got in first, and I said, she put on her bathing suit. She wanted to go in.
I have pictures.
She was standing next to me, and she was like rooting me on. She gave a thumbs. If you become a sponsor, or if you are a sponsor, you're going to see this in the newsletter on Monday. That's part of the behind the scenes. You're going to see a picture of me in the cold plunge with Aurora, giving the thumbs up. But I, at the end of the 3 minutes that everybody had to, was doing, that's when I said the last 30 seconds put her in, because she doesn't understand.
No.
So Lauren comes over and they said, now Aurora, you want to go in? Yeah. So Lauren picks her up. And she puts her feet in, and that was it. So
over.
And it was okay, good.
Yeah, great.
So now she was very upset that she didn't go in. She started crying. But man, oh man, I loved how we just said, Aurora, do you understand? You are the first 4-year-old who ever put her feet in the cold water.
Ever.
The tears went away immediately. She started crying.
We spun it so well for her.
She started smiling. The crying went away. We spun it so well. Because I knew she wasn't going to want to do that.
That would be, I've never seen it done. Maybe it has been, but I've never seen it. So yeah, she did more than most 4-year-olds. And as I said, she was exposed to different foods and all kinds of things way earlier than I ever was. I was very proud of her. She had no issues. You know, it was really incredible.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Really was. There's plenty more to talk about, but that's it. I'm just going to jump right into this one. October 3rd, 2024. Greetings to you all, ladies and gentlemen, whether you're watching on quitefrankly.tv, which there's more reason to watch there tonight again. Last night you got some overtime with me and Matt Christensen, and then After Hours kicked in. Tonight, when we end around 9 o'clock, our good friend from the All Things Art Bell Rumble channel is taking over Thursday nights for the month of October once again. And tonight we have a great Midnight in the Desert throwback compilation of 2 separate Bigfoot episodes. So starting at 9 o'clock, you're going to have quite maybe 3 or 4 wonderful hours of cozy, spooky Bigfoot talk on quitefrankly.tv, so you don't have to leave anywhere. So I hope you enjoy yourself. We'll be right back with Jay Gulinello. And, I want to say one other thing here, too, because everybody knows that we're going to be doing book club over the next couple of Mondays, and they're going to be short stories. Well, Mask of the Red Death we were going to do with Charlie Robinson, but he had to back out, and I just want to tell you why, because he hasn't made it a secret, but he's been taking care of his mother, who is not well. She's dying, and I just want everybody to keep Charlie Robinson and his family in your prayers for his mother's soul and for the strength that they're all going to need in this transition without her. And he's been pretty blunt about the situation, and I just keep Charlie in your thoughts and your prayers, because he's a wonderful guy. And I wish him all the best. And I told him we're here from whatever we can do from afar. And yeah, please keep him in your thoughts and your intentions. We'll be right back to start this show off. And there's so many places we can go. We'll go at a relaxing pace. That's all I can really. Wherever we go, it'll be relaxing. Hopefully, don't go anywhere though. Take care.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay?
Just knowing that eventually there's going to be an election that is postponed, canceled, pushed off. It's not necessary anymore. There's some cataclysmic event that is going to replace the need to go and drop a ballot into the ballot box. Then there's some other things. There is the idea of what is going to be possible from an election fortification standpoint, what's going to be believable, and under what premise. In 2020, they did a lot of unbelievable things that were made semi-believable for a lot of people who vote both ways.
Sure.
As I was telling a lot of people at the retreat, when we're sitting around, we were talking about how you got to remember that there are plenty of well-to-do Republican types that they believed the whole narrative about the big lie.
Sure.
Of the 2020 election, because that whole thing, they thought Trump just lost. We gotta lick our wounds and try again. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that were believable in 2020 under the premise of lockdown, biological threat, all that. So I wonder from that standpoint too, a secondary standpoint, what from an election fortification angle is going to be believable in 2024 without that hanging in the balance. Now, there's other things that are flitting around us right now. We have a whole lot more, we have multiple nations worth of men, just armies that have been let in now that we just don't know who people are, what their intentions are, long-term period. So there's a lot of factors and variables that have been added to the mix, but there is no COVID. There's no reason to stay home on November 5th. But the other thing there too is, the third thing is, if they if the election fortification stuff really is not possible, because that has been the only thing that anybody, Scott Pressler, anybody who's out there organizing, Brendan Dilley, Rich Barris, anybody that we brought on and talked to about going out and winning an election, if there's any chance to actually truly win an election, it is to win in such incredible numbers that you can't justify being left with saying 430% of people came out. 400 million votes were cast in a nation of 300 million.
Yeah.
I understand that showing up is the only way to overdo it. If that is really what internal polling is showing people, that there is really no way to beat Donald Trump, then the third path that we've been talking about for years is you got to start as many horrible things up in the fourth quarter of this year into January of 2025, so that when he does take the oath of office, if they don't kill him first successfully, he's going to be dealing with multiple wars that he would not have started himself.
Right.
He's going to be dealing with one collapse or another, humanitarian crises, this and that. I mean, this is another way of paralyzing him, where they had to go on the fly with the FBI and Russia and everything else in the first time. So it's those three paths. So that's what it's either cancellation, fortification, or just throw so much shit in his lap that he feels like he can't unbury himself.
And I mean, I think this time the big hope, and I think I said this last time on your show, the hope for me anyway is that this 4-year break for him helped him learn the ropes even better. In other words, rather than having a continuous 8 years, 2 terms, I don't want to say that I don't mind that we had to deal with these last 4 years, because it's been terrible for most of us, and inflation and especially lower income people. I mean, it's just been a travesty at the border, and a lot of reasons. But maybe this 4 years taught him how to handle what's coming. I don't even think he could have expected the degree they went to, as you said, paralyze his first term. And he still got a decent amount done. There was so much more to do. So I agree with you. I think it's one of those 3 paths, but I just hope that he is being prepared for whatever situation is going to come his way with a better set of people, not Bush Cheney rejects that he allowed into his first administration. I hope it's a completely new set of characters that really can help him navigate this minefield that you so eloquently laid out.
I mean, it's not even about navigating the minefield. It's about you just got to go in there with those mine reapers.
Yeah.
They're just the tanks with the big heavy chains in the back that are there to trigger the mines. It's all just got to be triggered at this point. And I mean, I would believe what you're saying right there more than everybody else who has told me, Frank, you don't understand. People needed to see how bad it was. It's like, no, it's not about people. I think more than enough people know what good. I mean, the average person doesn't need to know all the conspiracy theories,
right?
And all the they maybe they'll get there eventually, but you don't need everybody to know to be able to make real change there and to charge people with crime. But most people just know that things are bad because they can't buy groceries the way that they used to. That their neighborhoods are going to shit, that crime is on the rise, things like that. That's more than enough. And I don't think we needed to go through all this stuff, especially since it's going to be very, very hard and very arduous to reverse it all.
Yeah.
But that does have a little bit more of a that does help Donald Trump, someone in his, if he did have illusions as to how hard it was going to be the first time around, perhaps this little break was best for him, not for us.
Right.
I know how bad things were and how they can get. And it's not like electing a new person is going to make all the damage of the last 4 years turn around.
No, if we sit there on election night and Donald Trump wins on election night, the work has just begun. And that seems like a cliche, but it's, I mean, as you said, you now have to untangle what's just happened over the past 4 years.
Batten down the hatches if he wins. I mean, Absolutely. It's going to get rough. Like I've had people say, Frank, well, we got to see what's the outlook going to be like after November. Is it going to be light or is it going to be dark? I'm going to say, you understand that Donald Trump winning is going to be the darker path, not because of him having dark ideas. It's just that the reaction is going to be worse.
Yeah, I mean, the one plus I will say too also is that while I was never a fan of the mainstream media, the Donald Trump experiment has taken the mask off completely. I mean, I was just listening to coverage of the debate the vice presidential debate the other night. And Frank, I mean, they're not even pretending to be journalists anymore. They're not even pretending to be an unbiased observer bringing news to the people. They're literally saying things like, well, I'm just happy that J.D. Vance got stuck doing this, and I think Tim Walz was great because of this, and it's really important for Tim Walz to, as if this is a football game and they're rooting for their team. That was never the case before. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Maybe it was the case, but I was unaware of it, especially when I was younger. I just thought the news was the news, and they presented things in some manner of an unbiased way, even though I know everybody individually has their own biases. The mask is completely gone now. The news media is lost, completely lost.
You could make assumptions as to what everybody in a broadcast is favoring based on, you can make assumptions as to where somebody's leaning, but they never wore the team jerseys before.
It's crazy, Frank. It's crazy.
They're wearing the jerseys at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how anybody takes any of them seriously. It's almost as if you can just go in the opposite direction. But yeah, it really is. They really are just rooting for their favorite team. And no matter what the reality is in front of them, I mean, they had to admit that Tim Walz looked intellectually overmatched in that debate. And indeed he was. But, then you heard, Jen Psaki saying things about mansplaining, which I was just laughing at. So in other words, if a person is a man and has a point of view and wants to articulate that point of view, that's mansplaining. Okay, got it. So we're at a point now where men just shouldn't even speak, apparently, especially if you're a white man. Don't even speak because, years of oppression or whatever.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Well, and on the flip side of that is whenever a woman makes a statement about anything, just shut up and take it.
Frank, I think of that in my own field. Whenever I go up against, like a female dietitian, I've yet to had it used against me, but I'm just waiting for that moment where just because she is a female, she's automatically correct and I need to shut up. And, and I deal in a field that really should just be about the data far more than politics, which is more opinion. But even in that, even in my field, it's amazing. It's amazing where we are as a society.
It is. Before we get into all this other stuff tonight, I want to throw a couple of minutes up of this. It's Jose Vega from the Bronx. He's actually running for New York 15th District.
Oh, cool.
And he's been on the show before. He's a LaRouche. Mm-hmm. And he's the type that shows up to all of these very bougie gatherings and stuff and starts, taking people to task, Hillary Clinton, whoever the hell it is, taking people to task about war, about Ukraine, about whatever the hell it is that really harms and threatens the lives of little people, who are just trying to get on with their lives. Well, he showed up at a Paul Krugman Paul Krugman event.
The economy's fine, I promise.
I know. Paul Krugman, ladies and gentlemen, who has made a great living selling Keynesian economic snake oil, where every there's a price control, there's an appropriate regulating role for government that coincides with every human desire. Well, he's made a wonderful career for himself, even though Keynesianism has ruined everybody else. But still, here you have Jose showed up in New York at a CUNY event, a City University event. Paul Krugman said last night at a CUNY event about perceptions of the economy, because it's all about perception.
Perceptions of the economy,
yeah. We had a guy yelling about Biden refusing to help Helene victims who had to be escorted out. So Trump's lies have gone viral.
Trump's lies about the Helene victims?
And Jose does not mention Trump once.
These people are obsessed with him. He's broken the brains of so many people.
He never uttered it once. Take a look, listen to this, because these are always very satisfying. Hold on a second. Let me just make sure that's out of the way. And all right, here we go.
Nobel Prize-winning economist here to tell us how great the economy is. I certainly wonder how the residents of Asheville, North Carolina must be feeling right now with no access to power or water or communication with the outside world. I wonder how enthusiastic they are about the economy right now. I wonder how enthusiastic the residents of the South Bronx must be feeling about the economy.
Look at these old people in the
Maybe
audience.
North Carolina should rename itself Israel so it'll get $20 billion in aid. Or maybe Ukraine so it can get $300 billion in aid. Maybe the South Bronx should do the same thing. I mean, I'm sure the economy is great for smug liberals like yourselves who make $5 million and are worth $5 million. I'm sure the economy must be great for all you smug journalists, economists. All of you must be having a great time with the economy when most people can't even pay for basic necessities, for people who are getting evicted because they can't pay their rent. Because over in the South Bronx, just a few miles away from here, there are portions of buildings that are literally collapsing, and I'm supposed to give a shit about the stock market? You want to know why the presidential election is tied right now? Because our money is being sent to Israel and Ukraine so that they can continue to bomb innocent women and children. You think that's a great economy?
Someone's got to say it.
I'm sure Israel, with their free health care, is having a great time with American taxpayer money. Hey, is anyone here going to talk about the fact that we could be in war with Iran in a few days? Or do we need to focus on the S&P 500? Is that what actually matters? Huh? The S&P 500? When most people may not even be alive here in a few days just because we're on the verge of nuclear war? Hey, listen to me, Mr. Krugman. Your degree is worthless. You might as well use it as paperweight because it means nothing. I hope you enjoy the dead children that the economy is powering. Our economy is definitely very powerful.
Oh, there's someone in a mask.
I know.
Whoa.
They're wearing, dude, it's a...
Oh, so you know this crowd. You know who this crowd is.
He walked right into the nest.
Wow.
A nest. You know, it's like a nest. Hey, I mean, and this is what's going on. They show who knows how many people are there. You know, maybe 200 people to listen to these weenies up there talk about the perceptions of the economy. Well, what perception do you need of supply and demand and stay the hell out of people's lives?
I know. And the newscasters try to tell you that constantly. The Rachel Maddows and the Joe Scarboroughs of the world try to convince you by the numbers that the economy is good, except in every livable way, people understand that it's not. And they have that A-B comparison, which is so rare because you've got, well, I mean, you would have had the same presidential matchup as last time, you know, one president, a consecutive presidency, and then those two matching up again. That's the perfect A-B comparison. And I mean, Kamala Harris is no different because she's not running the show. She's running the show just as much as Biden was running the show, which is to say, not at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, you know, I have a bunch of really incredible headlines and stuff, and I have this Dr. Casey Means video I think you're really going to love. I think there's going to be plenty of places to stop along the way to talk about the retreat as well.
Sure.
There's because you want to talk about the nastiness out there. There's so much more to really consider as far as progress goes. Number one, take a look at this locally. House of Cards, several U.S. cities hit pause on water fluoridation in the wake of historic federal ruling. We were talking about this just before the retreat began. The EPA can no longer ignore the risk that water fluoridation poses to human health. Yes, but think about the teeth.
Well, someone, for the love of God, think about the teeth.
Love of God, think of. Of course, we're bottoming out with education and health, and we hate each other, and we're in an insurmountable amount of debt. But if we can just at least not let go of the principle of strong teeth,
you know, Frank. A strong society begins with strong teeth.
With strong molars. You can't have a strong society without really good hard molars. Let's see here. A handful of cities and counties responded quickly to a September 24th ruling by a federal judge that water fluoridation at current levels poses an unreasonable risk to reduced IQ in children. So I guess they have to just lower it.
So can I just real quick riff on this? So I had written about this several years ago, and so of course I was called a conspiracy theorist. In 2006, the National Research Council of National Academics stated, I quote, fluorides have the ability to interfere with functions of the brain. And as of 2019, we had about 60 studies on fluoride. 53 showed lower IQ levels in communities with higher fluoridation. And then in a 2017 study, which was actually funded by the NIH and the EPA, who support fluoridation, they found that fluoride was a neurotoxin at the levels currently experienced in fluoridated communities. In a follow-up of the same cohort, found a greater prevalence of ADHD as well. So we've known about this for a very long time, and I've been called all kinds of names along with everybody else who just wants to take the precautionary principle on this again and wonders how water fluoridation, when they say, well, these are the acceptable limits. Well, I would also say then, how are you controlling how much water people are drinking? You don't know the dose. So even from the back end, even if you give them that it's not neurotoxic and that it is helping with cavities, you aren't controlling the dose. It is a psychotic practice. And I'm so glad that finally a federal judge has at least, I know that I read the decision, he said it wasn't his, I'm not making this fun, he was sort of dancing around the issue because he knows probably what he's going to be called, but at least he looked at the hard evidence and said, we have to raise the alarm bells on this.
We do. Yeah. And you know what I was really happy about? My cousin Pat, he's actually, I think he's part of the town council.
Okay.
In Somers, New York. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure of it. And Yorktown and Somers, New York, they stopped fluoridating their local water after this court decision.
That's great.
Now, he's not in this article. I have to get in touch with him and see what the hell's going on, and that's great. I just hope that it's not a temporary pause.
Yeah, that's my thought too.
It's just...
If you read the judge's words, I would say this, it was a good decision, but it wasn't a firm decision. It seemed to be that they were leaving, areas open for appeal and all that kind of stuff, which of course, is going to come from the likes of the EPA and other entities.
Yeah. Here's one that popped up I wanted to throw your way, because I don't know if you have any experience with it. This is from Gateway Pundit. Able Child, 1970 hearing reveals ADHD as a government-funded drug experiment on children.
Wow.
In 1970, a lawmaker wanted to know if the federal government had a hand in drugging school-age children that largely has today remained an unspoken, well-funded, uncontrolled clinical drug trial. September 29th, 1970, New Jersey Congressman Cornelius Gallagher held a hearing into the federal government's role in promoting the use of amphetamines and Ritalin as behavior modification of grammar school children. 54 years later, Able Child applauds Representative Gallagher for presiding over the House Special Studies Subcommittee on the Committee on Government Operations investigation, as it was one of the first hearings to draw attention to the government's funding of experimental drug research using school-aged children. Gallagher wanted to know from the experts how it was okay to drug children with the amphetamines and Ritalin to modify behavior in school, while at the same time pushing an active national campaign against drug abuse while stating that speed kills. The congressman was concerned about whether the drug therapy being used by the child would become a permanent part of the child's school record, thus years later negatively impacting the child's life. And finally, the congressman raised concerns about, quote, the mislabeling of the child and packaging of ill-conceived program as an answer to our ills in the education of our children. Now there is a defined condition for every tick a child has, especially, rambunctious boys.
Well, I've told that story before. I would have ended up on Ritalin had it not been from my old school pediatrician who said that he's just a boy.
They're like you could ask my mother the same way with my brother.
Yeah.
They couple of people suggested that Anthony should be on Ritalin. She said absolutely not.
And think of what they may have done to his creativity, to all of the things that this is incredible. I did not know this, but it doesn't surprise you, right? I mean, it took President Clinton to apologize for the syphilis experiments of the CDC, on black men. So, it's not really a surprise that the government would experiment on its own. We have to kick this idea. And this is like one of the ways, and I've heard you talk about this before, but the way you break or you red pill somebody is you start with something that you've been lied to about and just kind of plant that seed. I did not know about this, but it's not surprising, unfortunately. Years ago, I would have been surprised. I'm not surprised anymore.
Yeah. No, I'm not. And there's been a lot I've read about ADHD, ADD over the years. They said my brother was ADHD. I remember he was sitting in third grade. He would have his tutor come over, he's squirming around his seat, but he just squirmed.
Maybe little kids shouldn't be given a sugary breakfast cereal that's considered heart healthy, then not exposed to sun in the morning and forced to sit in a classroom for 8 hours a day. Maybe that's just not a thing that children in general, never mind boys, but children in general shouldn't do. Maybe we have to reimagine a few of these nutritional and educational components of a child's life before we determine that they should be on a lifelong drug. I think it's disgusting.
If I think about now, the days that we used to have in grammar school, and I loved my grammar school years.
Me too.
They were great. It was just a different time. There was a lot of I have a lot of really fond memories of those years.
I do too.
But if I think about the actual daily routine now, I get almost claustrophobic. I get claustrophobic because I mean, even when I'm at home preparing the show, after a half hour, 45 minutes, I got to get up and walk around.
And you're an adult.
And I'm an adult.
Kids have limitless energy. Imagine trying to strap a roller down to a chair for 8 hours. Be like,
I know.
And you're going to take a drug if you get up.
Not only that, but all you have in those years in school to break that up is a 20, depending on when your PE classes.
Right.
We got maybe 2 PE classes a week.
Yep.
But
recess.
and then you have 20 minutes for recess after you eat. Yeah. After you eat.
Yeah.
It's just like I obviously, like you said before, we're kids, so it doesn't matter that we just had peanut butter and jelly and chips and all this other shit and a Polly-O string cheese and all and some pudding, and then we go outside and run.
Right.
I mean, it should be the other way around.
Yeah.
You should be getting these days, like, I hate working out, having eaten anything. I feel like I'm going to throw up after 20 minutes if I have even an applesauce inside. I just want to be whatever. So you think about all the stuff we went through, and it makes me claustrophobic. That routine.
Yeah, we have to reimagine a lot of things, and I think, and again, it starts with the kids, because if you screw up the kids, well, then you have a generation of screwed up adults, and now you see a lot of adults that identify with whatever illness they have. They wear it almost as a badge of honor. And if you try to tell them, I've been told this as a person in the medical field and the nutrition field and the health sciences, trying to tell people that, hey, this may be reversible. To some people actually will bristle at that and give you, there'll be a backlash. Like, what do you mean? This is who I am. And it's like, wow, you're so tightly identified with your supposed illness that maybe you don't even actually have. And what the first thing that came to my mind, and it's one of those things when we had Danny Katz on the show, she's been on a couple of times to talk about words, inner dialogue. Oh yes,
spell, the etymology of word, all this stuff. But even a very, very, very common thing you'll hear from people who deal with maybe anxiety disorders or anything like that. Disorder. Everybody has anxiety. You deal, but to be able to say, my anxiety was through the roof. That's mine. That's something that's my very dear friend.
I'll tell you, man, I experience this on a daily basis with people who. In my day job, I deal with people who they have to be clinically, in order to enter the program, they have to have a clinical diagnosis, or at least a BMI that makes them clinically overweight or obese. So, I mean, when I talk to people about this stuff, they really do hold it as a personal identifying marker. I mean, and is it that dissimilar to things like politics, where people are a Democrat or are a Republican? And I would advise people to strip away all of those things, because all they do is hold you back, and they prevent you from progressing either intellectually or physically sometimes. I am a diabetic. Actually, at the retreat, somebody told me a story about that. Their mother, when they were able to reverse diabetes, that an identity was lost. And that's so fascinating, because you would think that everybody wants to be healthy, but some people, their illness is part of their identity. And by taking that away, they don't know what to do anymore. It's very strange. There's a huge psychological element to what I do. And as I get older and deal with more people, I understand that on a much deeper level now.
Well, and I want to get back to this article, but while we're here, that is what I always love about your retreats. And I know that you and Nurse Jenny and Kathleen, there's probably plenty of plans you have for expanding this for larger periods of time, more retreats throughout the year, going doing different things. The combination is probably endless. It can't just be 4 days in September every year. No way. It's too good. And what I love is that over the course of a 4-day period, you all take a spot to do a seminar. and it's about 45 minutes or so, and it's really great. And they all tie in usually. And this year, I really, really loved it because Jenny was talking about mental health. And we have a lot of mental health. We said this on the Q&A that we broadcasted on Saturday night, which is so awesome. Please go and watch that if you haven't watched it. But the Q&A that we did there said, mental health, it really comes down to, call a therapist, maybe medicate a little bit, and then hopefully you can wean yourself off once you come to terms with whatever's bothering you. It's never really taken up as an identity issue,
right?
As something that we turn into crutches and part of our identities, and it always goes deeper and deeper than just one particular thing that haunts us, And
it's because, as we're going to talk about later, I'm sure, that this becomes an industry, and once an industry is built on managing symptoms of a disease or a perceived disease, it's almost impossible to untangle that stuff, So we talked about mental illness, and we talked about the nutritional component, the light component, all the things that you'll never hear about. As you said, it's either a drug, it's usually a drug, right? And that industry is built on treating that. I mean, I think I've told this story on the show before, but I got in trouble at the hospital when I worked at the hospital now I wasn't saying that I was an employee of this hospital. I was just speaking on my Instagram account as Perpetual Health. But I rightly explained that there has not been, that Prozac, I was talking specifically about Prozac, and just going over studies that showed placebos were even more effective, and we were talking about, and a doctor sort of turned me in to my superior, and I got in trouble for that in an Alzheimer's post, basically saying, well, there hasn't been an Alzheimer's drug approved since 2004 because we don't understand the disease. And this doctor, I still don't even know who it was to this day.
That ratted you out.
Yeah. But instead of coming up to me with his superior intellect and challenging me, he tattletaled, which I thought was comical because everything I do, is so supported by the evidence, either links or paper names, or I put, people say, oh, I want the study for that. And it's like, if it's on Instagram, it's in my story. Like today, I posted a whole thing about pharmaceutical lobbying in politics, and the top 5 names were Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris, and Mitt Romney for the last 34 years have received the most money from pharmaceutical companies. And everyone was like, well, I want the paper, I want this. I'm like, it's right in my story. You can click on it because people are so angry that I exposed the uniparty because maybe they were mad because Mitt Romney was in there. Maybe the other were mad because Kamala Harris was in there. Tough shit. They're all in there, So, but that's what it comes down to. I never say that stuff without being able to back it up. And so anyway, the point of the story was that even doctors, he didn't have the courage to come to me. I shouldn't say he, could have been he or she. Didn't have the courage to come to me. Rather, they just ratted me out and wanted me to stop doing this. But it was evidence-based, which is what they love to say. Follow the science. I was following the science. They just didn't like where it led.
I wonder what they would say about ADHD because I always get mixed things about this here too. Now, I know everything is a disorder or a syndrome or a condition these days, but ADHD, I hear I've read so many opposing, it's there, it's biochemical, or no, there's no science that actually proves that it's a brain abnormality at all.
Yeah.
Hyperactivity, what is that? I mean, does it present itself in blood and hormones? I don't know.
I think it's yes and no, and I think it's different for everybody. And we just throw these catch-all names over symptoms, and then we think we have a disease. So I wouldn't want to disparage anybody that is actually suffering with these symptoms. And I can tell you that in my last semester in grad school in clinic, we had children with ADHD and who improved with the removal of things like food dyes, food additives, remarkable improvement, addressing gut health. Many of them do have gut dysbiosis, things that are not being tested for at a standard medical practice. They're not doing a stool test. They're not looking at bacterial overgrowth. They're not looking at removing the food dyes and the additives, from the diet. And it's difficult to do with children because children, once they get used to eating this way, or all my friends eat this way, it's like, yes, but, we have this thing going on. And it's amazing how many times that improves things. So then that does beg the question, is this a set of symptoms that's created by an environment that we've placed our children in? Or is it something that's just been around forever and we're just getting diagnosis happy?
Well, there's something else there too, is over time, like when we were growing up, ADHD or attention deficit disorder without the hyperactivity, it was almost completely, exclusively put onto children.
Yeah.
Only now do I hear and see adults talking about how, oh, my ADHD was going crazy today. Perhaps they're just 80s and 90s kids who were ADHD back then.
Yeah, and they've carried it with them.
Part of their identity.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what's going on there. What I do know is, and it pops up in this article, that in 2020 alone, 9,585,203 Americans were taking some form of psychiatric drug as treatment for ADHD. I'd have to imagine most of them are going to be almost 4.5 million Americans between the ages of 0 and 24 alone were prescribed drugs for ADHD in 2020. I mean, millions of children.
Yeah, I don't believe it. I don't. I mean, I think it's some of them are misdiagnosed and the others are just put on drugs, because that's what we do in society today. It's been completely normalized to be on, in some cases on multiple drugs. And until we start, again, and we have changed so much of our environment in terms of EMF, in terms of food additives, all these things. And until we address those things, at least look at them. And not to mention, the word that shall not be named, the schedule that has increased dramatically since when we were kids, right?
Yep.
Until you have an honest look at these things, which you're just not allowed to do in today's society, I don't think we can come to a conclusion other than the fact that, like I said, in school, we would address this nutritionally. We would address this with the tools we had, and the results that we had were pretty spectacular.
Here's another one from Time Magazine or from time.com that I thought that you would really appreciate. Here it is, the headline: why does everyone seem to have IBS now? Okay. Now I want to scroll down to where the hell of course, my highlight is gone.
I hate that.
I know. Why is IBS on the rise? I'll put you right here. The digestive system is complicated. Precise cause isn't well understood. But here you have it. The uptick could be related. Oh, I'm sorry. Many experts believe it has to do with the quality of a person's diet and dysregulation of the gut microbiome.
Look at that.
I'm sure you would say that.
Pretty good.
But the uptick could also be related to stress. IBS is a brain-gut axis disorder, explains Dr. Sarker. The gut has a lot of nerves, and the ways that the nerves are firing affects the movement, pain, and bloating. Psychological stressors play a big role as well. Now, I don't feel that you would be in any way, shape, or form, in disagreement with that.
No.
But then over here, the increase in IBS prevalence also could be related to COVID-19.
Yeah.
because viral illnesses can induce disorders of the gastrointestinal system. I'm sure it can.
Yeah.
But
I know.
This need to make COVID-19 like the scar across.
Do you remember? Do you remember?
Do you remember?
Do you guys remember this thing? You remember?
Remember the thing? Just always remember the thing. It was very important.
Yeah. It's really cool that they're doing that though, because but again, you really want to fine tune this. Yes, diet, absolutely. I was just talking with my professor last night about people who are on PPIs, proton pump inhibitors for indigestion, because the theory is that it's too much stomach acid, but it's not too much stomach acid. Sometimes it's not enough stomach acid, or it's just the right amount of stomach acid, but in the wrong place. It's a very specific distinction. But the stomach is also known as the acid barrier because of its extremely low pH, very, very highly acidic. And it's also that way because it's the first line of defense with incoming pathogens which come on our food. So you take PPIs, you reduce your stomach acid, you reduce your body's ability to neutralize the incoming pathogens. So they make their way through the stomach and into the GI tract, into the small intestine and the large intestine where they're not supposed to be. I mean, there's commensal bacteria, but if you allow too many pathogenic bacteria, they're going to overtake the commensal bacteria, and then you're going to have these issues with small bacterial intestinal overgrowth, SIBO or IBS. This is just a set of symptoms, very hard to diagnose, but most people that have gut issues, there's a variety of things you can do to address that, that just sort of independent of the IBS diagnosis or the IBD diagnosis. So yeah, it's a pretty good article, but you got to throw the COVID-19 in there, just in case you forgot, because it's an election year too.
Yes. And since we're talking about the gut, I said I'm going to throw this one in here with you too.
It's like a smorgasbord today.
Oh, I know. I took a lot, and we have great stuff in the second half too. Take a look at this. Studyfinds.org. Surprising study finds meat and milk may prevent cancers in the gut.
I did not see this.
This is in Japan. Researchers have uncovered a surprising link between the food we eat and the prevention of tumors in the small intestine. More importantly, the Japanese team behind the study found the answer to suppressing tumors in several unlikely foods, including milk and meat. I'm sure that it's pasteurized and homogenized milk, of course.
And so if that's the case, right? Say that's what they were testing in the study. Imagine what you could actually do with like pasture-raised beef and raw dairy, the kind of raw dairy that supposedly, according to people like Matt Walsh, kills people. Yet we seem to consume it all weekend long, and no deaths have been reported.
That guy swings and misses on some of the most ridiculous. You know, he's done some funny work, some enlightening work. I respect a lot of his hustle out there. But he swings and misses on so many cultural issues. And when I saw him come after people for raw milk, I said, oh, God, this guy sometimes.
Yeah, know your room and also get educated. He's speaking like someone who has never read any of the scientific literature, just truly clinically ignorant on the topic.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, he has picked some really weird hills to cut his legs off on. He hasn't died yet, but he's
not dead yet.
But he's cutting off limbs. Let's see here. Led by Hiroshi Hono, a team of scientists at Riken Center for Integrative Medicines has revealed that food antigens, particularly those found in meat and milk, may be unsung heroes in keeping our guts tumor-free. This discovery turns the table on often vilified food antigens, best known for their role in allergic reactions to common foods like peanuts and shellfish. If I go down to the key results, it says mice on the AFD developed more small intestine tumors than those on a normal diet. Adding, let's see here, adding BSA to the AFD reduced tumors to levels similar to the normal diet. Mice lacking Peyer patches developed more tumors and similar to AFD fed mice, and the study also found that food antigens stimulated the development of certain immune cells in a small intestine and Peyer's patches. So I got to send it to you.
Yeah, I would love to. So just for the audience, how I would look at a study like that is I would want to look at the actual study because I want to see what the comparison diet was, because it said that those mice developed more tumors. So then we go to examine what was in that, because meat and dairy is a normal part of a human diet, despite what they will tell you. But things like seed oils, which are very often found in those animal chows, that could be part of it. So I would want to compare the two diets and then look at the mechanism of action. But that's fascinating, and I wish I had known that was coming, because also I had written something about a particular molecule found in, and it might be the same one, found in meat and dairy that seemed to have a cancer preventative and anti-cancer effect. So I'll have to find that, and maybe I'll write a post on it over the next couple of days. So stay tuned to my Instagram, and I'll try to do that, because that stuff is fascinating to me, and it also flies in the face of everything they tell you about dairy and meat, being a carcinogen.
Yeah.
I mean, the World Health Organization classifies red meat as a probable human carcinogen, which is insane. It's actually in the same category as glyphosate, an herbicide that is designed to kill life. So
Speaking of glyphosate, I have that in the second half, along with a few other things. There's just so much. Let's go to some super chats real quick, because it's almost time for a break.
Holy cow!
I know.
Half the show's over. Frank.
Well, you know how it is, Jay. We joked about it before we went live. Whenever you come on, it's a 3-hour show that is stuffed into 2 hours.
Yeah, it is.
And it's tough sometimes, but
I know there are so many directions I would love to go, but I understand that we only have 2 hours. But it feels like Gilligan's Island, a 3-hour tour.
I know, but you got to keep people wanting more. So that's
the showbiz in you.
You just have to. I know. Oh well, man, we're really on a roll here. But tune in next time. All right, let's see here. Mama Gnomes 4 says my son was diagnosed with ADHD. Tried countless meds. He begged us to stop. Started having 1 cup of coffee a day. It worked. He's 25 now. He's creative and unbelievably smart. Just needed people who believed in him.
Oh man. And I was going to say that too. I read something that, based on the clinical presentation,
started having 1 cup of coffee a day, though. What is that? Wait, you gave
maybe that's down from.
I don't know.
Like maybe it was having more. Maybe reduced it.
Mama, I would love to know how old he was when he was diagnosed. How long he went on with the medication, and he begged to stop, and then you started giving him coffee. I would like to know.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Okay, go ahead.
But the stifling of the creativity, I'd read something that if you look at the clinical presentation of Beethoven, that he would have been put on drugs, and that who knows what that would have done to his creativity. So I just like how she mentioned that, because I do think that creativity sometimes is tied to a little bit of, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, inability to focus on one thing. I have that same thing, but I think that contributes to my musical ability and also my ability to decipher science and bounce around to things. And when something does hold my attention, I focus on it. But I think that's really important. So I just when she said creativity, I meant to mention that before. Who knows what kind of creativity we're stifling with all these drugs?
I had a friend, a childhood friend, and that right there, he begged us to stop. That makes me feel. That makes me feel so sad.
Yeah.
Because I had a friend, I remember he was put on Ritalin for a while, and he would talk so sadly about it. He says, I can't stand it. I'm so tired. And I'm just, now it makes me feel bad when I really think about it.
Yeah.
Back then I wasn't really, I didn't have the emotional depth to really understand what this child is telling me, a fellow child.
Yeah.
And,
wow.
and
I see. So it was child to child. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
As a peer, when you're 10, 11, 12 years old, you're just like, okay, well, it's all right. Well, maybe it'll get better, and it's you don't distrust the doctors.
The doctors know what they're doing.
The doctors know what they're doing,
man.
You're going to get better. It's going to make you better, man. Don't worry about it.
What do we know?
That's probably
as
the
kids?
kind of encouragement we give each other when we're kids.
Sure.
But now when I think back about that, I'm just happy that when some kids tell their parents, I can't do this and I don't feel right, that the parents listen.
I agree.
Because how horrible to wake up every morning and know that you're going to have to take that pill and you're going to have to feel like a fucking zonked out.
Yeah, you wonder what that child is going through. That's begging me to stop. That begs a lot of questions from me. I am very curious, but I'm glad that it got resolved.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. Okay, Stove says, we support wonderful independent media, and especially when the one and only Jay Gulinello is in the house. Thank you, Frank and Jay.
From Massachusetts.
That's it. Car Guys New England. Also, I think from Massachusetts.
I believe so.
Hi, Frank and Jay. We love seeing Jay on the show. It's a wealth of knowledge. It usually is. The flow is great. Benny Farina says, Frank and Julian, best guys on the internet.
So close.
Benny texted me before. He texted me before to say, hey, here it is. Oh, they actually did reach a deal.
Oh, they did? Okay.
He said instead of 77% pay increase,
which is crazy,
they're getting 61.5.
That's still crazy.
And 6 years of no automation.
It was interesting what BCP was saying last night about the automation. I mean, I think there's a time and a place, like we can't always stay in the Stone Age, but I also understand if it's about national security that a human eye on something is better. So I'm very agnostic about this. It's a very interesting conversation.
I know.
I was enjoying it over the last couple of nights.
I've been jumping from foot to foot because especially when it comes to it's not so much national security because it forced me to go back to 2002.
Yeah.
Because this popped up. I remember even in the Sopranos. I mean, this was. The Sopranos even took a little bit of a change with their storyline, and they added new things in there after 9/11 because everything, the FBI was...
That show straddled 9/11?
Oh, it straddled, yeah.
Oh, okay.
The first season was 99.
Okay.
So around season 3 or 4 or whatever, the towers come down, and all of a sudden they start peppering in this new aspect of national security and how the FBI has its attention split now between, there's some domestic issues with, whatever. But then it also, Tony starts thinking about how he might be able to leverage his position as, just knowing the word on the street. Hey, if I give you some tips about some guys that we know, it might be Arab, whatever, can you make some friends and, whatever. I think about that because they used a couple of old, maybe CBS or whatever news clips in The Sopranos that I remember seeing a lot of back then that talked about just how few of all of the compartments, all of those crates that come in through international shipping through our ports are actually inspected. Now, I went for last night's show and I picked out that I could probably get my show notes and grab them. the 2000. I'll get that for after the intermission. Of just how still to this day, as of 2021, how few of all of these shipping containers are actually inspected, and they have to use like pretty much profiling, risk analysis, so that they can narrow down their search. But I mean, even from that standpoint, longshoremen aren't part of that.
Okay,
they aren't part of that process. It's been Customs and Border Patrol.
Okay,
it's been DHS. All that, and the Coast Guard. That's at least who is primarily responsible for all that stuff. So when we've been waffling behind who has the better point here about all of these labor discussions the last week or so, most people who are like, no, this is about not even just national security, humanitarian issues. There are people being trafficked in there. And I was like, what? And the longshoremen are the detectives that are, I mean, I don't, and then why wouldn't that be mentioned at all? And it hasn't been a part of, it's been all about the money and automation that's been.
I know. Do you know, James O'Keefe has a new film coming out about trafficking over the border. I don't know if you've seen this. I just saw him do an interview the other day, and what he was saying was that the Border Patrol agents know what's going on, but what's really disturbing is that they're not doing anything about it because of their pension, their paycheck. And he even said that the wives of some of the Border Patrol agents were pressuring them not to blow the whistle so they could keep their job. So they know that children are being trafficked across the border into God knows what, and they're not doing anything about it because money. And that's, I mean, we don't want to accept that we live in that world. It just made me think of that because, yeah, I believe that human trafficking is happening through probably shipping containers. But you're right. If that's the case, maybe they're afraid to say something because they know that that's sort of a third rail, especially with the open border. But I'm not sure. You had a very convincing caller who called in and mentioned
two nights ago.
Yeah, and I remember thinking, wow, I hadn't even considered that concept, but it was interesting to me.
Yeah. It was an interesting concept, but seeing that it really just came down to 6 years of resisting new technology and a 61.5%.
That's massive. And I think a lot of them are making in the six figures as it is.
Or getting at least close to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that they wanted to match the West Coast, but living on the West Coast anywhere.
It's not the same.
It's not the same as over here.
Yeah.
At least in for most of it.
Right.
Coastal towns around New York, perhaps. But it's crazy. So those are some of the details that I got from Benny. So thank you for that, Benny. Good. All right, we're going to take a little break, really quick break. When we come back, so much more. You're not going to want to miss it. And then after the show concludes, we have a wonderful night of Bigfoot for you on QuiteFrankly.tv. So just go grab yourself a refreshment, come back, kick back, or take the phone with you, listen to us while you do chores or whatever the hell you do on a Thursday night. We're going to be back in a flash. Don't go anywhere. Hey, want to start your day fresh and stimulate your taste buds at the same time? Try the Quite Frankly Elevation Blend Coffee, brought to you by the Coffee Revolution in Davenport, Iowa. An uplifting mix of Ethiopian, Mexican, and Peruvian estate beans and roasted to first crack. Guaranteed to have you coming back for more. And as if you needed more reason to enjoy a fresh pot, did you know that healthy consumption of caffeine has been linked with longevity, lower risk of cardiovascular disease, boosts progesterone, increases in thyroid function, increases in metabolism, mood, and even testosterone after working out? And here's some free advice. Upon waking, drink at least 12 ounces of water with some sea salt. This will leave you hydrated and energized, and then an hour later, have your first cup of Quite Frankly Elevation Blend Coffee. You will feel like moving mountains and making babies. So choose a smooth, organic light roast with my stupid face on the bag to inject some life into your daily routine. Quite Frankly Elevation Blend Coffee is linked at the affiliates page on QuiteFrankly.tv.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out to press the like button.
Quite frankly.
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 Quite frankly. Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly, guys.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
So everybody watch, Quite Frankly, with Frank.
Next year, wherever the hell you do your retreat, you're definitely going to have a 3-piece drum set.
Yes, I apologize for that profusely. So for the audience, we had some live music there, and myself and Pete, who used to play in a band together in high school, we got to jam, and I was really bummed that we didn't, I had to download like a little beatbox app, but a real drum set, I mean, trust me, all the things that I saw this year, I thought, man, this could be better, that could be, even your show we were talking about, like, oh, very minimal investment to get like up the production value, and so it's all that stuff is already percolating.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, look at how crude the setup was, but it was great.
Yeah,
it was very.
It's all
very,
about the content,
that was great.
And I think people know that on the road. Obviously, you're not going to have all the bells and whistles, but even if we can bring one bell and one whistle, it would be good.
I had exactly one bell.
I had a bell at home. I just didn't bring it.
I had exactly one bell. Here's from Mama Gnome 4, a little bit of a follow-up.
Oh, okay.
The diagnosis was in first grade, started meds in third grade. Sixth grade, we stopped.
Okay.
I had read somewhere that caffeine can help with focus. Started giving him a small cup of coffee in the place of meds, and the coffee made him feel more focused.
Mother Nature.
Placebo? She asks. I don't know.
Though, I mean, that's an A/B comparison. The child was on drugs, then they were off drugs with caffeine. I mean, you knew what was going on, but the child probably didn't have a deeper understanding of that. So it could be placebo, but
I don't know. Giving unless it's decaffeinated coffee, giving a child a small cup of coffee in the morning is, I mean, that's not like giving somebody a sugar pill.
No.
I mean, that's caffeine's a drug.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's absolutely a drug, and it's an adenosine receptor agonist. That's actually what it is. So, yeah, that's very interesting. Very, very cool. I'm so happy that it worked out.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Let's see here. On Rumble, we've got some Rumble rants. Hey, would you blow me too? Says, Jay, how about regulating blood pressure? What about regulating blood pressure?
So I wrote an entire paper on this in grad school, and the research still stands up. If you go to my Substack and search perpetualhealth.substack.com, search for hypertension, I think you can search on Substack. But anyway, insulin resistance is the biggest thing. There's a bunch of variables, but usually I always say it's the wrong white crystal. It's not sodium that's the problem. It's hyperinsulinemia, high levels of insulin, because there's a high level of blood sugar. So insulin has to remain elevated to decrease blood sugar. And what happens is that also forces the kidneys to retain sodium. But sodium is not the causative agent in that chain. It's the elevated blood sugar.
Is that why sodium is blamed?
Yes.
Just like when cholesterol shows up in arterial plaque.
Someone was paying attention at the Perpetual Health cholesterol lecture.
They just say, oh, well, cholesterol's there, therefore.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, similar principle. But I go into pretty good detail on that in the paper on Substack if you want to check that out. And I can post it somewhere else if that makes sense. But it's a relatively long paper, so it's hard to like mail to people. But go to Substack and it's on there.
Get to the Substack. I keep linking perpetualhealth.co. Can people get to the Substack from there?
No.
Oh, damn.
I know. I need to fix that. But honestly, the best two places, Substack is great. Instagram, I'm super active and usually always answer DMs. And also Rumble, which I'm, getting close to 1,000, which is what I wanted to start, doing some live Q&As. So
that's you can do live streams as long as you have 1,000 people.
I believe that's what they said. Yeah. So very close. Like we're talking like 100 people left. So pile into Rumble, Perpetual Health, CO on Rumble, and then of course Instagram. Which my Instagram account, I don't know, Frank. Maybe the veil is lifting because I've seen like slight growth over the past month, like an additional 100 people, and I had been stalled. So even Instagram is starting to reflect some positive change. So go over to Instagram, go over to Rumble. I'm super active on all those platforms. So I will get back to you. And if you have those questions, I'll try to point you in the direction of a post that I've already written that might answer them for you.
Okay. 925 Wild G says, here's $5 just because Giuseppe is on.
Isn't that a G?
Yes, but they put it with a J.
Ah, nice. Good. Well played.
He says, hey, would Jablomi says, again, it all makes sense when you realize that they want you and everyone to know, and love dead. This world belongs to them, and you are using all the things that belong to them personally. F them.
They don't really see us as equals, Frank.
No, they don't.
They don't. We're like an inconvenient inhabitant of this planet, the useless eaters, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's...
But it's good, you know, and Haywood says again, please listen to the song by Rush, Force 10 Now.
Oh, what album is that on?
Or your own, and
Yeah, okay.
you know,
I'll check
or
it
you're
out.
on your own and read the words. So there you go. So Rush, but Force 10. I don't know.
It's not on an older album. It must be a newer one because I don't recognize it. And I know Rush's catalog pretty well.
Well, you know, on that, I think that's why the social aspect of getting together, the retreat, was so important, and I felt it immediately, even though I have a wonderful home life. But there was a
new energy.
There was a new energy, but leaving it, there's a little bit of a deflation too.
Of course,
just like leaving any good party.
Of course,
you know, you don't want the party to end. And I think that's why it was so appropriate for all of those seminar topics from over the weekend to tie in together like that when it comes to hormone regulation, mental health, cholesterol, stress, social factors as part of general health.
Yeah.
is huge. We have I was watching this kid. He's in his 20s, somewhere on YouTube. His name was Sean, I think. And he said, where the hell is it? I had it here just in case it came up. He said he can't. I don't know where the hell it is. I'm trying to remember. He said he can't even remember. He said that everything's been different since 2020.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you mentioned that to me earlier.
Everything's been different since 2020. Everything's screwed up. Dating, friends don't get together. People are talking less. Neighbors are a lot more contentious with each other.
Well,
he said, this is a more particular thing. He said, when I think about 5 years from now, I have a hard time. You know, I can maybe project myself 5 years forward, but I have a hard time even seeing a world in 5 and 10 years. I think a lot of people feel that way. You know, I just asked some people I said, hey, listen, December 14th, studio Christmas party, mark it off in your calendars, to a couple of my friends from high school. And I said, and they said, honestly, man, I don't think we're going to make it. And I said, is everything all right? He said, no, I mean, the planet.
Oh.
And these are not guys,
Yeah.
these are not the type that, you know, get in touch with you and share news and whatever. They don't dig into that. People just have this feeling, there's a lot of dread out there. And getting together breaks that dread up.
I mean, we experienced something in 2020 that I don't think people fully have grasped. I mean, shutting down the world, I'm pretty sure that's never happened. So I can understand that hangover. But the antidote, as you said, I think, is that community aspect. And there is, believe it or not, there is science behind the community aspect of health. Oxytocin release. Breast cancer survivors, they tend to survive longer, or breast cancer sufferers tend to survive longer when they have community compared to people who go it alone. There is a stress, the HPA axis, that is lessened with community. So there's a biological, physiological reason why community helps, and why staying at home all the time is just not good. It's not the way humans have been, evolved on this planet. We were always in community, and now we're just in our own houses. And now technology has, and don't think that this is not the way they want it, right? Forcing us to be able to do everything from home so that you have no reason to leave your home. Don't travel. Don't go anywhere. You're destroying the environment. Don't go outside and meet your neighbors or grow your own food. That's dangerous. You actually missed the lecture where I actually went through all the headlines of over the last 2 years and what they have told us is incorrect and what is actually correct. I mean, it was everything from don't eat meat, don't go in the sun, don't exercise because you could become a right-wing jerk, don't become a father, that increases your risk of cardiovascular disease. I went down this whole list and I said, I mean, can you see it now? That everything the media reports on is to tell you to not be human.
Don't be born.
Right. And everything, right, literally. And everything that I'm telling you is it's actually the exact opposite. And so it's a very clear, you can either think I'm crazy or I'm correct. It's a very clear line of demarcation at this point. The world that we live in is telling you to live one way. And what I'm saying is, no, there's a completely different way to do it. And I think actually that's the better way.
I wish we spent a little bit more time on safe, like what the real deal with sun exposure is. Mm-hmm. Because I was watching the Yankees. It was like one of those matinee getaway day games where where I actually they start at like 1 o'clock because they're going to travel to the West Coast or something. So when I stopped working a little bit for lunch, I was just sitting down with Lauren. Aurora's taking a nap. It's me and Lauren. We're watching a little bit of the Yankees, and I'm just eating a little something and just watching a ball game. And on this particular day in July or August or sometime, they had in these people. I think it might have actually been a celebrity of some type or whatever. That joined Michael Kay and Paul O'Neill in the booth, and the entire thing for the whole inning, the top half and the bottom half of the inning, was talking about skin cancer and make sure that you have SPF 100s on and don't go out there for too long. You know, it was severe stuff though.
Yeah.
Because I understand you can overdo the sun.
And that's the idea. Yeah.
But I wish I had recorded a little bit of it because the severity with which they spoke about even moderate exposure was what was incredible to me, especially when we know something now. For example, Lauren, her skin is fair, but she, especially since she started working with you, she's not burning. I mean, she's not burning, and over the years when she's had dietary fluctuations and she's cleaned things up, I mean, she's had some situation. I was down in 2014. I went down to the Dominican Republic with her, and to her father's place down there, and she had, I don't know what the degree of burns were. She forgot to put her SPF 90 on her shins. She put it on everywhere but her shins. And literally when we were coming back home through JFK, she couldn't even walk anymore. She had to like sit on one of our valises and had to use it almost like a wheelchair.
Yeah.
I mean, she was crippled by the sun. And it's crazy. Nobody talks about dietary impacts on your body and sun exposure and everything.
It's like you're reading my mind. I mean, that's exactly where I was going to go with this. You know, I would love to break down a conversation that was being had like that to go through each point, because they don't even tell you that most of the skincare products out there are full of carcinogenic chemicals. So that's like a non-starter for me. There are some natural forms of skincare, zinc oxide, things that you can use, mineral-based, that if you know you're going to be in the sun, because see, our ancestors would never have just stayed in the sun like that. They would have, seek the shade or, go out at certain times of day. So unless you know you're going to have to be sitting outside in the sun all day, sun exposure is very healthy. But a couple of things. One, she changed latitudes on that trip dramatically. That's also very discordant with our biology. In other words, the whole thing about like getting a base is because the seasons, approach naturally, and you slowly increase the exposure to the UV rays. Whereas if you just go from
New York to
the Dominican Republic, your body's like, what the hell is going on here?
It was an April trip too. We were pasty.
So I did the same thing when I went to. When I first moved to New York, I went down to Miami, and that's where I met the agent that said, if you move to New York, I'll represent you. So this was 2010. I went between Christmas and New Year's. I went from 17 inches of snow, and 15 degrees in Boston to Miami. Now, I was too busy to be outside but I would have gotten burned if I just said, hey, look, Miami sun, that's not good, right? That's not natural sun exposure. But the other thing that I was going to bring up, and this is very clear in the literature, and anecdotally, I see it all the time, the fat content of your diet, the fatty acid content of your diet matters so much to your cell membranes. There's a direct correlation between your dietary fat intake and your cell membrane composition. And therefore, the structure dictates the function of the cell membrane. So when you have damaged fats from things like seed oils in your diet, they're going to become your cell membranes. And those cell membranes are going to be more likely to be damaged by UV rays than people who move to a more natural fat diet, which has a lot of saturated fat in it. I know. Those cell membranes change. They become more resilient, and you are less likely to burn. So the dietary content has a huge impact because it is literally making up your cell membranes, and thus the resilience to the sun is dictated by your cell membrane content. So it's really fascinating. There's a bunch of ways to avoid sun damage, but as you said initially, it's really just about not being stupid in the sun.
Yeah.
We never would have just laid out in the sun for 12 hours. Never. That makes no sense, but there are ways to mitigate the damage, again, dietarily, but also with like mineral-based sunscreens.
Okay, so definitely we have to talk about this next, maybe around the third week in March.
I was going to say, you don't want to do it towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Third week in March, we got to start
Yeah.
telling, because I'll tell you something, Jay, and I haven't made any purchases yet for any red light.
Oh.
But this year, combination of just things I had to do in the yard, working out every day, whatever the hell it is, I made a certain amount of sun exposure every day a part of my daily health routine.
Good man.
And it changed it as far as mood, as far as, energy.
Yeah.
Like I had some intense workouts. It was awesome.
I love working out outdoors.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And it was just every day. Once that last week in August rolled around, I feel like I haven't. There's been like 2 occasions that I've been outside, and it's been mid-70s, and I can just feel the sun, starting to really cook.
Mm-hmm.
It really sucks, and it's making me really worry about. Damn, got so long until next April, next May.
Absolutely. And did you like? Yeah, I know you tried the red light therapy retreat. Yeah, that was good, right?
It was strange because when I was sitting last year I didn't do it. This year, after the cold plunge, you set me up 10 minutes in front of the red light. So I'm sitting there, and it was strange because, number one, I know that you can actually look at the red light and it doesn't hurt.
Yep.
So, I did a little bit of the looking, but ultimately I just closed my eyes and just let it wash over me. And I actually did feel that kind of rejuvenating feeling, that almost like a glow. Without the heat, though, which is so weird.
Yeah, that's the red and infrared. So you're getting skin exposure, obviously, and so that's affecting the top layer of your skin. But then you're getting the deeper penetration into the mitochondria. So that may be where you feel that euphoria, you feel the energy, you feel. Red light therapy and infrared therapy is very useful for both of those things. So it can help with lines and wrinkles, and it can also help with literal mitochondrial energy production. So it's pretty powerful. And then that, of course, translates into mental health benefits and all that. But, getting outside in the cooler weather, I advocate getting outside 365 days a year. I mean, you get a ton of benefits from that cold air, forcing your body to warm itself up. Don't always, you were mentioning cold plunges. You don't always have to jump in a cold tank. You can go out on a walk on a cold winter day I'm not saying go out there in a t-shirt, but you can just go out there with a sweater, maybe don't bundle up as much, force your body to warm you. That is so good for it'll transition white adipose tissue into brown adipose tissue, which is metabolically active. So that's healthy fat. And it also increases your mitochondrial content because the mitochondria is also going to generate heat as well as generating energy for you. So you're forcing your mitochondria to warm you, and therefore you will be more resilient in the colder weather. So the more you expose yourself to it, the more resilient you will become.
All right. So then let me counter this with just from what a normie would do. What one of our grandparents would have screamed out at us.
Exactly where you're going with this.
You go outside. It's December 22nd. It's a nice brisk day, chilly even. And you go out there and you take your, your friend, Aurora tags along or whatever the hell. And we go out there for a few minutes and we just have a t-shirt on. And it's chilly, man. Somebody's screaming, get inside, you're going to get sick.
Right.
So what is it about, what makes a person sick? Is it possible for somebody to go out there and catch a cold, catch a chill from actually just being in the cold?
No.
Well, okay, so then where did that come from?
Well, again, now I'm a big terrain theory person, but there are germs, right? Like there are bacteria. So you certainly could actually catch something, but most likely it's a thing where we're reduced vitamin D and general reduced time outside, so you're exposed to more indoor air, which is just not as clean as outdoor air. So it's like a combination of things. I'm only advocating for going out for a short period of time. If you were stuck outside, that could actually potentially depress your immune system. So what I really think is going on, if you happen to catch a cold, it could be the fact that you haven't been outside much and all of a sudden you go outside. But the duration really matters. And I think also, your current nutritional status, your current, there's a whole bunch of things. It's not just going to be, in fact, I would say that the outside actually helps prevent sickness. And you could have a potential, like exercise causes a potential dip in immune response initially after the bout of physical activity, but very quickly it rebounds. So maybe where that old wives' tale came in is, you know, the potential that people just get sick in the winter already, and that may have been connected with being outside, but there's no actual evidence that actually going outside makes you sicker. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It actually forces the body to adapt and actually makes your immune system stronger and makes you, again, more resilient. So I've always heard that as well, but I'm outside shoveling snow in short sleeves because it's a great workout, and I rarely ever get sick. So it's really just, I'll go into terrain again. It's the health of the host. If you're already sick, going outside like that is probably not a good idea. Like if you're already sick, but if you're healthy and you're not sick, going outside is actually a very positive thing.
Oh, I haven't had to shovel my driveway in a long time because I've got a wonderful snowblower, but.
Hey, on some of the storms, if the snowblower doesn't make sense, get out there and shovel.
That's the thing. That's the thing. I've had to do a lot of shoveling because we get these really awful storms here. We maybe get 2.5 storms a year now, and 1.5 of them are just slushy mess. Where you can't even fire up the snow thrower.
Yeah,
you can't do it. It's not going to do it. It's just going to clog. It's going to slosh. So you're out there shoveling anyway.
Yeah.
So maybe just this year I'll do it in a G-string.
I'll send you pictures if you send me pictures.
Okay, oh, great.
Frank, I'm outside.
That's it.
Just shorts. What do you got? For Jay, I got a G-string.
Jay,
you win.
That's it. It's the February G-string challenge.
Hey, look at that.
The February G-string challenge.
I'm thinking about it now.
I know. 925 Wild G says large molecule versus small molecule mercury for Jay. What the hell's? I don't know anything what he's talking about.
I'm not sure either.
Large molecule versus small
but
molecule
now you've got
mercury.
Me very interested. I'm going to have to look this up. I'm sorry I don't have an answer, but I always tell you guys when I don't know something, so I'm certainly going to look that up.
There you go.
I'm going to write it down right now.
All right, here we have one more thing because it's 8:29 now.
Oh my.
Yeah, I know. Bruiser Brother says, does Jay have any advice for reversing kidney disease?
I would really have to look at all the labs and see what contributed to that kidney damage in the first place. That's a tough one. That's another one where it would really.
That's a step up from diabetes. What's the difference between the two?
I mean, you can have kidney damage as a result of chronically high blood sugar. So that is one of the things that I would look at. So I guess I could give an answer that you should look over all of your labs, right? And you should look at things like that probably aren't pulled, things like insulin. That is so important. If someone has kidney disease, it could be because, again, kidney disease and cardiovascular disease are downstream of type 2 diabetes, but that's just a result of chronically high blood sugar levels. So that's one of the first places I would look, but I would want to see a lot of other labs, inflammatory markers, what stage. So, you want to look at the GFR on your labs and see what direction it's trending. So there's a lot of things we would do, but certainly getting a fasting insulin would be fantastic because at least you could see what level metabolic derangement is happening.
Let's see. Linda in the chat room, Linda Love in the Gilded says, Frank, you should see if a red light therapy company wants to sponsor you and get a free one.
That would be cool.
Why didn't I think about that?
Quite frankly, red light therapy.
Damn. Good idea, Linda. Too bad I don't have an account executive.
I got to say this about Linda. It's so funny. She sent me a DM today about a talk that had a mitochondrial component. I just love how, since I've met your audience, anytime anybody hears the word mitochondria, I am the first person that they think of. I just think that's fantastic.
Yeah, you're the mitochondria guy. But you know what? Speaking of that, I want to do something with the audience right now. You just brought it up. You brought it up. It makes sense for me to do this. I want to start a poll right now because about how many people do you think? Last year you had 20 people limit. This year you bumped the limit to 30 people. They were sold out both years. Mm-hmm. What would you say about 90% of the people who showed up are members of this audience?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
At least 90.
I mean, that's why we were able to say some of the more, some of the more political things or some of the more controversial things because I knew the crowd was going to be completely on board with it. So yeah, mostly your crowd.
Okay. So then here's the question. What do I want to ask if we put on an event, guys, I'm putting this, even if you're watching somewhere else, I'm putting this as a chat room poll on Twitter. if we put on an event, quite frankly, perpetual health, we get like a theater somewhere. We have guest speakers, we have comedians, we have panels, we have food that is we bring in chefs. There's tables instead of whatever the hell else, and then maybe there's a musical aspect after it, or maybe it's a 2-day event or whatever. Would you travel to New York? Would you travel to New York to be a part of it, or would you travel to be a part of it?
Travel, yeah.
Well, I'm just gonna say with travel,
because that's the ultimate thing about one of the biggest takeaways for the retreat was that we had people from all over the country: California, Utah, Texas, Florida, New Jersey. I mean, it was incredible to see people travel for that information. So I believe your audience will travel, but we can see. And the food would not just be food. The food would be, Frank, right?
Nick,
it would be
Nick and Tony
the
and all
level of food at the retreat. This was the best year that we've ever had in terms of the food.
I still have the scent. I still have the scent of the beef tallow. Everything, all the chicken was, first of all the chicken came from Amish farms and all that. It was, it was breaded in cassava flour, and deep fried in beef tallow.
The old way.
I still have the smell of it in my nose. I mean, it stays with it. It's like smoking a cigar.
And wasn't it cool to wake up every morning, no matter how early you woke up, you didn't wake up earlier than the chefs. So the smell of Thanksgiving, the smell of cooking, the smell of coffee, that was always in the air constantly. Whether you got up in the morning, went to bed at night, it was always there.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of, because I'm thinking that would be great to see, because this would be limited engagement anyway. We're talking only a couple hundred people, but if we had speakers like, I don't know, what if I can get Mel K and Roseanne?
Some big names.
What if they can pull someone else around? And then there's also, because I know some theaters that have a great spot to do speaking, and then they also have side stages where we can actually have musicians come in. My band can play.
Yeah.
Your band can play.
That's true. Wow, that'll be a lot of fun. I'm already excited.
That would be awesome.
I want to answer the poll. It's on Twitter?
Yeah. It's on Twitter. You just go into the live stream on Twitter and you go vote. I mean, that would be awesome.
I mean, I would travel.
I would. I know I would. So right now, 67% say yes, and then there's 33% lemon faces that go, no.
What?
I don't leave the house.
No lemon faces.
Oh, absolutely, Nikki. Chris Ann Hall would definitely be there.
Oh, I mean,
especially since Jay, you now know she has a bio background.
Well, I mean, yeah, I love Chris Ann Hall's work. Anyway, when I found out that she had a science background, I was just over the moon. So,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, that would be.
And entertainment, comedy, education, nourishing food, community. I mean, what more? It's like a mini version of the retreat.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I have some people we can ask some questions from, and there you have it. Okay, so let's see here. What do you want to do, Jay? I mean, I have this.
What do you want to do, Frank?
I have this 6-minute long video.
Oh yeah.
Of Dr. Casey Means. Actually, let me just first check and make sure that.
I mean, that would take us through the rest of the night, because I know a lot of that stuff in there is going to be very topical.
I know there's a lot in there, but it's also stuff that we cover a lot anyway.
It is.
So I can always save it, because here's you have the Dr. Casey Means, or I have the video here of my guest from 2012 eating the light bulb.
Oh, I mean,
what do you want to see?
I kind of want to see that, Can we do both? I don't know. I mean,
well, okay. What do you want to do first then?
Oh, let's do the light bulb first. You mentioned it. I mean,
let's
get some instant gratification.
All right, let's do that, and let's see. Okay, so let me set the table for you.
I'll assess the nutritional value of the light bulb after.
Yeah, you're going to have to. So this is April 24th, 2012. Okay, this is 12 years ago. We're in our first studio. You can still we still have that same kind of red. We like that deeper red. Mm-hmm. There's Anthony right there. It's me, Anthony, Mike. Our buddy Koss is in the room at some point, but we have R.J. Williams. He's on the couch, and he's about to show us how he eats a light bulb, and then he eats a second one to break the world record. Okay.
So 2 is the world record?
No. The time.
Oh, the time. I see.
At this point, he had a world record 33, I think it was almost 34 seconds, 33 and change. And he wanted to break his record on the show. So first we're going to see the practice round. Here's the practice round right here, and and then I'll skip ahead. This is a 19-minute long video, so but that's because the middle of it is when he put the bike spoke through his arm.
Good God!
So we're not going to watch that. I just want you to see the eating of the light bulb. Hold on.
Nope. All right. Yeah, looks good to me.
Now, is there any way that?
Touch it? Everybody touch it before he eats it.
We're inspecting.
Bacteria.
All right, guys.
We're inspecting the light bulb.
Frank, you look very concerned.
I am concerned. Do
you have 911 on speed dial?
First of all, he signed a waiver.
Oh, good.
He signed a waiver.
That's smart.
And other thing is, remember, this is 2012. I don't know what we're about to say, but there might be some cursing. So tell the kids to be wary.
And here's the twist that you didn't know. I'm gonna be in the light bulb.
That's an amazing twist, Dan. You really had them fooled.
This shit's making me hungry right now.
Seriously.
And they started eating light bulbs.
I don't know why they look so edible all of a sudden. Now I just want one.
I want to get into my light bulb. Everybody's
I think I'm just.
This is the guy.
So there's R.J. Williams.
Okay.
He's a magician and the master of the macabre.
Okay, so now
I'm on the diet, the light bulb diet.
Here we go. I'm gonna stand over here.
I did the lemonade diet. Next is the light bulb diet.
Wait. I think it's right around 1.5 minutes. Ready? Here we go.
And now I can. Now that fill in move out of the way.
Here we go.
You guys want to do a countdown?
Yeah.
Yes.
3.
No. This is
10. The practice.
No. We're just going to. I'm going to eat it slow first, and the next one I'm going to do.
The
record
sound
speed.
must be incredible.
All right. So you guys ready?
Yes.
All right.
He's eating 2.
So you don't want me to time this, right?
Not this one. No.
Okay, cool.
You ready?
Oh, please. The camera's on.
By all means.
I'm ready.
R.J. Williams has signed a waiver. Everybody.
He's really doing
Everybody has the same reaction.
Dude, the fucking crunch alone scares me.
This is class.
Sounds like Jaws when he's eating people.
Oh my god.
It's like a fucking ice cream cone. I want it.
Actually looks hungry.
Oh my.
Does he bleed?
Jolly Rancher.
Oh.
I'm definitely taking sound clips from this.
Dude, he's pushing his jaw closed. Oh my god!
I can definitely tell he probably needs to grind it up real good.
Hold on, I just got some invites for a game of Scramble. I'll be right back.
Now, before I do the next bit, people always ask me, does this taste like chicken? And I tell them honestly, it doesn't. But it does have some similarities to other foods you eat.
Like what?
Like what?
Like cheese, because it's sharp.
Now you're telling me there's no blood in your mouth.
Bang, boom.
You're allowed to make a joke like that with a mouth like glass.
I don't want to.
Frank, put your finger in his mouth and touch it. Touch the glass.
Yeah, he's got no blood in his mouth. This is like real. Get up in there. Get up in that shit. This is ridiculous. That's all grinded up.
Hey, we should snowball that around.
Yeah.
Everybody got the
fucking
taste.
gross.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, everybody tastes it. Try the saliva.
Okay, so now listen. That was now. Now he wants to go for the gold. Now I'm gonna go. Let me see here. This is they saw the bike spoke through his arm.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, it was a nutty night that night. So now here it is. We are going for the. We're going for the world record. He's going to do it. He wants to beat 33 seconds. And here we go.
Beautiful. Try the veal. Best in the city.
Me.
What?
Software update needs your vacation.
You know what that was?
No.
All of our computers were always so bad that our broadcasts were often interrupted by like Microsoft Sam saying,
"Oh my,
update your software." And Microsoft Sam almost became like a part of the show.
Part of the show. Oh man.
Yeah, because
you could program him to say things. You should have done that.
I know, but we couldn't actually ever upgrade the software because the computer was so slow, it always failed.
I gotcha.
So we were just stuck with it. Here we go.
All right, let's check this out.
Okay, so 34.8 seconds is your original.
Yep.
Let's see. Now, let me get my thing out. Let me get my penis out, too.
I feel like Guinness should have been there.
And
make me throw it out.
I'm going to Polish. And everybody, this is human seconds. I'm using it on my iPhone. There you go.
Seconds.
What I need you to do is count up every 10 seconds. This way I could keep a track of how
you got it.
How far behind I am or what.
You got it. Every 10 seconds. So it's like I'm training you right now. Okay, ready?
Hold on.
Do you...
You tell him when to go.
Do that shit. Crack that fucking neck. All right, let's go.
I gotta get the yawns out, you know.
Yeah. Okay, now do you want to do like a 3, 2, 1?
Yeah, if this way I know when you're starting. So you're gonna give me the count.
Gosh.
Everybody, ready? And 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh my. It's almost worse fast.
He's hungry, man.
My man's eating his bowl.
10 seconds.
Don't forget to put it out with your boots, Ted.
Oh my God!
Jesus
get that thing on him. Get that microphone on him, Phil. 20 seconds. That's 20 seconds.
I'm gonna call him Jaws from 007.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
It's empty.
30, 3. Oh, that was done?
Yeah.
You got it at 32 seconds, dude.
Holy shit!
Woo! You saw it here first.
32 seconds, dude. I stopped it at 34.5. I stopped it at 34.5. Okay.
He took me.
Frank.
Fucking awesome, man.
R.J. Williams. Holy shit.
All right, no, but I gotta ask though. RJ took me. RJ brought me into the meeting room. He had to talk to me privately, and he asked me to.
Oh yeah,
I guess
no,
it's
what
a
it
trick or
was.
something.
Yeah, I'll get back to that one in a bit. All right. So 'cause
Okay.
I want to work up towards it.
Okay, that's fine.
But let me see.
That American. Vinny Brusco said R.J. Williams, an American icon.
So that was in April. In June, I gotta find. He has to be out there somewhere.
Yeah.
But in June, he was arrested for robbing banks in New York City. And you can see he's a nice guy. He wasn't taking guns out or anything. He's probably just leaving notes. Listen to the New York Times article on this. Okay, it's from June of that year. Magician arrested in series of Brooklyn bank robberies.
That's a great headline.
I know. A self-described magician and escapist who once set a record for eating a household light bulb in fewer than 34 seconds was arrested. Now, this was old shit. When we were reading this, first of all, we're shocked that RJ has been arrested.
Right.
You know, we're shocked that all this stuff went down. But everybody that was reporting on it, we're like, look, Mr. Williams last year set a record for chewing and swallowing a light bulb in 33.86 seconds, washing down the shards with water, according to recordsetter.com. All we were caring about was, wait a second, he broke this on our show.
Exactly.
2 weeks ago.
Name drop.
You better give us some. No, we almost didn't even care. We're like, no, he broke his own record on Zeralza, New York.
Yes. Wow.
No, it's
So, I wonder, not to get too far into this, but I wonder if light bulbs by their nature don't break down immediately in such small pieces that they don't cause bleeding. Because how is that possible? You can't only have your teeth exposed to it unless there's a technique that I'm completely unaware of. How could your upper gum or your tongue not get involved
I
in
know.
That? Wow. That was
I know. Because
amazing.
I've cut myself on bulbs before.
On chips. You can cut yourself on a chip.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay.
You know, just sweeping shards up, you can cut. So, and I'm telling you, these were real bulbs.
I believe you. I believe you. I mean, he told that story. Frank told that story. For anybody who's watching that wasn't watching the live stream from the retreat, he told that story and mesmerized the crowds. I'm really happy that we got a chance to see it live in action, because it's actually better watching it than even hearing it described. It's indescribable, the sound, watching somebody do something so unnatural.
I know, because he said, we asked him, well, what is, what does it do to your insides? He goes, actually, it just moves through pretty regularly. And I started thinking of, and then I said, well, what about when it comes out? He goes, well, sometimes the poop is a little sparkly, but I'm like, damn, man. You can't tell me that there's not like cuts along the way. You can't tell me that you can't guarantee that.
No, micro lesions. Yeah, I don't think there's a paper I can pull on that one, Frank.
No, especially when you're going for world records and you're forcing it down in less than a half a minute.
Right.
There's no way that you can grind it into a fine enough powder there's definitely.
He was swallowing almost right away on that world record attempt. That's why I said it was even worse in fast motion. I wanted him to take his time.
I know. Calm down.
That's good.
Anyway, so there's that. There's that.
So this is what by the way, this is what the event will be like.
Yeah.
It will be, deep scientific, hypothesizing about mitochondria and then light bulb eaters, right? That is the vibe I think that Frank and I are talking about here.
I would love to. I would love to turn, I would love to have some sort of a desk up there, almost like it's a Johnny Carson kind of a setup.
Yeah.
And we just circle people through, or like Ed Sullivan, and it could be a variety show kind of a format in between guest speakers.
I love it. I'm telling you, man, it's going to be a new thing. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Imagine this. This stuff is going on stage. We got a theater set up, but instead of theater seating, we have the place cleared out and we put in tables. And just because it's going to be we're talking about really high quality food and all that stuff. We can't pack a theater out. We have to do a select number of people. Mm-hmm. What if at the tables we make sure that there are devices? Not only can we we can have microphones set up so people can go up and ask questions, but there's got to be some kind of way where tables could be interactive with other tables. Like you can send a drink to another table electronically, say hello.
That.
I mean, I would love to do that. That was actually a concept we had for a Zeralza. That was the name of our show back in the day. Zeralza Studios, all that. We wanted it to be a series of nightclubs where it was almost like a nightclub, hookah bar with a radio station inside of it.
I remember you saying this maybe it was on the anniversary or something.
And I wanted I wanted the cafe tables in this nightclub to be interactive on a network with other cafe tables where you can, just send, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things we could do. And you guys are going to be in love with the food. Maybe we'll do appetizers, as we were saying, in the theater, and then maybe a proper dinner after. But this coming to fruition, this would be amazing. This would be amazing.
All right, here's one for you. Lease Breaker says, what's up, Frank? Can you ask Julio if he has any tips about optic nerve atrophy? The doctors have no idea what caused it or how to prevent it from getting worse. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if this is in the same ballpark as macular degeneration. I'd have to look that up. But if it does, then you want to look up somebody named Chris Kenobi. He does a lot of great work on this. He gave a talk at the Ancestral Health Symposium in 2019, and it was all about, similarly, the fats that we consume in our diet and how they can contribute to this. So I'd have to look up that specifically and see how related it is and what the pathophysiology is. But usually it all comes down to those nutritional components either being void in the food that you're eating, or in certain ways, the man-made versions being in overabundance. And that's usually from my background, that's the first place that I start. But I would have to look up that condition specifically and see if it's also related to macular degeneration.
Okay, that'd be. And if you want to email the show, please do so I can pass it along to Jay so he can keep it in his research notes. On Rockfin. Janet Petition says, quite frankly, lithium under the Appalachian Mountains, land grab happening and makes me sick. Prayers on prayers to everyone out there. Love you, Frank. Well, tomorrow we're going to be doing a little bit more on that. I've been collecting more. We'll open up the lines because it looks like Fleckus is going to have to miss one more Friday because he's on that Gulf Coast side of Florida. And even though, around him there are trees down, whatever, everybody's in good physical shape, and he's not going to have his internet back until Saturday. So, so tomorrow night, I think Matt is going to be in here. We can do some stuff, but I also want to open up the lines to anything, information on people in the Carolinas right now too. Now, I've been collecting things. We're going to circle back to that, no doubt about it. And thank you, Janet, for the thoughts. Let's see here. Super Happy says, my husband and I were so blessed to be able to attend the retreat. We love the people, the food, and the information we learned, which will help us become the heroes of our own health. Seeing Aurora's smile in person was the cherry on top. Yeah. Thank you. I think that's Linda and Laura and Octawa.
Mm-hmm.
That's
from California, from Northern California, not Southern California.
They're the first they're the first people that I saw.
Oh, okay.
I left the call. We just got to the ferry, and I told Lauren I'll be right back. I'm gonna go use the bathroom in the information building or whatever. And on the way out, I bump into Frank. I hear, and there's Laura and Octawa, and talking to them for a little bit, and they're like, so that was the first people I bumped into. So Lauren was wondering. She said he probably bumped into somebody,
random strangers. Yeah.
There's no reason why it's taking him that long. So I came back at a little smirk on my face. She goes, "What? Who'd you see?" I said, "Our first two friends for the weekend."
It's gonna happen a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's good meeting people. Okay, let's see here. Does that's it?
Well, you realize your show has reach when that happens. That these people are on an entirely different coast, staring out in an entirely different ocean, and yet thought it was worthwhile to come to learn, to be part of the community, to improve their health. And I think it's always that's the biggest takeaway for me. We had a 4-year-old, we had a 12-year-old this year for the first time,
and they had a ball together. By the way,
I mean, it was just you couldn't. Man, I keep saying this, but the greatest part of it was seeing the effortless. Like when we do this, there's never any cliques. It's not like high school where there's like the cool group, and it has never been like that. And that's organic. That's impossible to plan. People just know that they're around people of similar mind, and it's just instantaneously, it just attracts them to each other, and all the barriers are just sort of not there to start with. It's not even awkward for a moment because we also intentionally design a meal right away. So you're getting there and there's some appetizers, and then people kept saying the appetizers, and they were eating the appetizers as if that was all there was. And then I said to Nick, when the dinner's coming, right? And he goes, oh yeah. So I mean, then there was the big dinner, and then there was the flourless cake with the heavy whipping cream from Amos Miller's farm as the dessert that we were eating at 9:30 at night. And like I said to you, Frank, or you said to me, I'm outside my eating window. And I said, I know, I am too. For 4 days, everything went out the window. And yet, the experiment that I run every year is to weigh myself and body fat myself just to see where I end up on a weekend of complete, absolute abandon. And I weighed less and had a lower body fat percentage than when I went in. And I'm telling you, I was eating from 5:45 in the morning, which I never do, to 9:30 at night, eating cake with whipped cream, which I never do. But the quality of the food was so good that it just changes the way the body responds to it. It's incredible, right?
Yeah, it's not. You think by listening to you talk on this show, going to a retreat that you organize would be somebody would be in a sweat lodge for. They'd be in a sweat lodge for 5 hours. They'd be, half of the days you're there, you're starving.
Right.
You're just being coached through hunger pangs.
Constantly in cold therapy.
Like, Jay, I'm hungry. No, you're not. No, you're not. Just fight it. But the reality is that you are inundated with incredibly high quality food.
Yeah.
And there's actually too much.
There is.
But the best thing about it is that what isn't consumed during lunch or dinner the night before is repurposed into a really creative breakfast the next day. And I don't know, these are just things that we have to do more as people. I hope people organize these kinds of get-togethers everywhere.
Yeah.
Because it was just it was good.
You learn so many lessons like that. The leftover lesson. I have lots of times clients will say, I don't like leftovers. I defy you to eat those leftovers that Nick and Anthony made and tell me you don't like leftovers. Right?
Yeah, I know. The pumpkin au gratin.
Oh, out of this world.
What the hell?
I was literally like, Nick, I didn't even remember this on the menu when we were talking about it. I said, you got to give me the recipe. He said, it was the easiest thing we made all night. I said, well, it was delicious.
And the braised beef, the short rib, Lauren is still talking about it.
Yep. You had rabbit, you had salmon, you had liver, you had all kinds of stuff.
What rabbit? What are you talking about?
Every year somebody says that. What? You remember on the luau, that was the day of the show, Saturday. I'll show you the picture. The bacon wrapped, sort of like, they almost look like, I don't know, medallions. They were just wrapped in bacon. It looked like chicken, white meat wrapped in bacon. And maybe, I mean, it was a lot of stuff that
I
day,
didn't have it.
but that was rabbit.
Shit,
We had
I
rabbit
missed
from the-
out on
from
it.
the Amish farm. We had duck, we had rabbit. I'll show you the picture after.
Ah, damn.
I
So
know.
there's some stuff I didn't eat.
I mean, it's not. I'm pretty sure there was stuff I didn't eat. I didn't get those meatballs on that first night that had the liver and the whole thing.
Aurora had one.
I know.
She didn't have two, though.
That's
but
okay.
But she had one.
That's amazing. So, I mean, and that's the thing. You know, every year somebody says to me, "When did I eat that?" And that's the idea was to show people that some of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet, from some of the greatest producers in the world, in my opinion, the Amish, can be delicious, and sometimes you don't even know what you're eating, and it doesn't matter. So, a lot of lessons, man, and it was a lot of fun, and it's still, you know, my voice is still suffering just from 4 days of, you know, up at 5:15 in the morning to get people over to the beach for the cold plunge if they wanted to, and then staying up till 11:30 at night talking to people. We were talking in the living room that night, and it was amazing to just connect with everybody and hear their stories, and yeah, it's a very unique experience. I hope a lot of people consider coming next time, and again, consider coming to what Frank and I are. You're literally in the throes of the planning. Like Frank and I are literally doing this in real time, and it's pretty cool because I think it could be a lot of fun for people.
Yeah, I'm going to write a lot of this stuff down later on and put it on my vision board. Let me go through the gold pills, and we're done for the night because I want to kick off after hours. It's going to be a really fun one on QuiteFrankly.tv. Robert Sarnes, thank you so much for the shades. Cave Toad says, thanks for the chill vibe, Frank. Hey, Jehoshaphat, keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Sal, Stephen, and Lori says, been without power and internet since last Friday morning. Just got it back 9 minutes into tonight's show. Missed you all. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that you're back.
Yeah.
And maybe we can get a call tomorrow to let us know how everything is. Doug Simi, thank you. He says, hi, Frankly's Braves Piano. Thank you. Cave Toad says, I've been working on fluoride pill with my friend for years. He refuses. He's a dentist family.
Oh, yeah. The ADA, the American Dental Association, is very, very, very fluoride focused.
Yeah, well, I mean, then okay, then go for your cleaning. Bite down into the mouth puck for
Yeah. Was it just? I mean, like when you're drinking it in water, is it just rushing past your teeth, providing all the benefits in the world?
I
It
know.
makes no sense.
No, I know.
Yeah.
It's like seriously, you're gulping it down. Like, well, why do you need to fluoride your tongue?
And we don't get into this. We didn't get into this because we're at the end. But I mean, fluoride and hypothyroidism is what an unbelievable connection. Because fluoride and iodine are in the same table on the periodic table, same column on the periodic table.
Halogens, right?
Yes. Very nice, Frank. And so the fact that it could be mistaken for iodine, and because iodine is part of the thyroid molecule, it's iodine and tyrosine. So we don't even talk about that. We have an epidemic of hypothyroidism. So who's to say that that's not, part of the cause is this fluoridation of water where we have no control over the dose.
So, I mean, not to say that it would be a cure-all, but I'd have to imagine that gravity filtration of if you have thyroid problems, the first thing you should be doing is making sure that you're gravity filtering all of your water. And maybe
fluoride filters.
The fluoride filters, obviously, but would then the good halogen of iodine be a counter to that?
Yes.
It would be the counter.
And iodine therapy can actually help displace other halides like bromine, and there's another one in there. There's one that's not active. I actually think it can displace fluoride as well.
Okay.
So iodine is amazing. So.
All right. Well, there you go. A little bit more to chew on. Thank you, Sean Joe. Cave Toad. Cave Toad says Judas. It's Judas.
Oh, no.
No,
It's definitely not Judas.
Judas Gulinello. Oh, no.
Can you imagine?
Cave Toad.
Unfortunate.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Is it Junior?
No.
No.
I'm not a junior. I'm actually the third.
You're a third.
I am. Oh, I'm just adding to the mystery now.
Okay.
Chew on it, Frank.
I think I remember something.
Uh-oh. No cheating.
No, what's cheating?
I don't know.
Knowing the truth? I think
it's possible.
Okay.
Nurse Jenny knows the truth, and she's not telling anybody.
Okay.
That's cheating.
Is there going to be a day that you reveal the truth?
Oh, now I feel like it's just when blown way out of proportion. It's more fun to play the game.
I know, it's stupid. We're brought it to stupid levels. Cave Toad says, hey, Justice. What the fuck was that?
That sounded like a
fart.
Car with an exhaust problem.
Hey, Justice, have you heard of a Midwestern doctor and their work? A Midwestern doctor. I guess that's I don't know.
Well,
Is that a channel?
It sounds familiar, maybe. Yeah, it actually does sound familiar. Oh, I'll have to go look it up.
Okay. NX17 says, Jay is such a wonderful guest. Thanks for a great show, gentlemen. Cave Toad says, so, Jules, my friend swears that that the carnivore diet means he won't burn. Is it true? Burn like what, in the sun?
So that's very interesting. Again, what we talked about. It is going to, by definition, change the fatty acid composition of your cell membranes. And by definition, then it may create an environment where you won't burn because you're removing some of those polyunsaturated fats, which are more sensitive to light and sensitive to heat, move them out of your cell membrane. So it's not a guarantee, but you may notice a big difference. You may actually brown quickly rather than burn. And
as my late great friend Pam used to tell me, Frank, tanned fat is better than white fat.
This is true.
Yes. She said, so let's see here. Witchy Poo, thank you. Sean Joe, and lastly, Wit Swickly. Swickly says, Metabolic Derangement is the name of my new band.
Oh,
thanks, Jay.
Yes, I've been waiting for somebody to come up with that.
All right. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for tonight. Thank you, Jay. There's a few things that we didn't do, but we can save them for next time because they're going to still be relevant. And go and check out Jay. I'm going to make sure that your Substack is in the link.
Those. I mean, honestly, like I said,
I'll do that.
I'm trying to get the Instagram back going. That's Perpetual Health CO. That has been moving lately, so maybe we can jump the algorithm a little bit, and then of course Rumble. Let's get to that 1,000 so I can do some live streams for you guys.
That would be wonderful. And yeah, let's see where all this information, whether or not the revelations that we encounter every day lead to revolutions or continued revolutions, because we are evolving and revolving.
I think, man, that event was part of a revolution. That's what it felt like to me. We were doing everything they told you not to do, and everyone left feeling a little bit better than when they came.
That's it. All right, ladies and gents, that's it. I've released the scratching over there on Pilled. And if you're watching on quitefrankly.tv, don't go anywhere. You know why? Because we are starting this. It's Throwback Thursday tonight, brought to you by All Things Art Bell on Rumble. And tonight it's going to be a Bigfoot classic. We got 2 from 2015, all right, from Midnight in the Desert. You're going to love it. So there you have it. Oh, yeah, there's a couple other things that we missed tonight, Jay, but there's just, what are we going to do?
Let's save them for the next time.
What are we going to do?
There's never going to not be stuff to talk about, Frank.
Can't do it all. And there you go. Essentially 70% of the audience that voted on I can't believe that we put this out there, this poll 31 minutes ago, and only 135 people voted when there was on average 700 people watching the whole show.
Oh.
But still 70% positive, very, very good.
Yeah, first come, first serve on this one.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a big.
Can't fit hundreds of thousands of people in there anyway.
No, it's going to be it'll be a nice event. It'll be very intimate, but it'll be full of a lot of fun. I mean, again, it's like a retreat in a condensed period of time. So
that's it.
Let's do it.
All right, guys. Good night and stay tuned. QuiteFrankly.tv. We're only getting started.
I'll catch you on the flip side.
Damn it! Tony? Hi, how'd it go?
What does it take to get some fucking smoked turkey in this house, huh?
What?
I bust my ass all day long and I come home, I want a little smoked turkey. Is that too fucking much to ask?
What the fuck is your problem?
Everything but fucking turkey in here.
Will you shut up?
Meow.